So, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are starting a new chapter. It's called, the name is Australia. I don't know why on Friday it took so long for my video to edit it, edit it up. And so, yes, sometime it happens. So, Australia, the transformation of a continent. Civilization arrived late in the huge island continent of Australia. Less than 200 years ago, only primitive men and in the main marsupial animals unknown elsewhere lived on its tired soil. Giant tree ferns grew in this isolated land, matching the animals in their antiquity. Strange trees were to be seen, like the black boys, which resembled woolly heads bristling with spears. First settlement. In 1770, Captain Cook took possession of 150 miles of the east coast in the name of Great Britain. 18 years later, Captain Phillip brought 1,500 soldiers, sailors, and convicts to raise the British flag on what was later to become the site of Sydney. Beyond this tiny settlement lay a vast unknown continent. 2,967,909 square miles is 2 crores of land, an area 25 times the size of the United Kingdom and Ireland. I was just thinking, if I see this unit 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, and then what is it, 2 crores? Anyways, so yes. To the north were tropical regions with monsoonal rains and intense heat. In the center lay deserts that had once been the beds of primeval seas, now shrunk to marshy salt lakes, glittering in the fierce sunshine. Even in 1813, land more than 50 miles from the small settlement at Sydney was unexplored. Then Lawson, Blaxland, and Wentworth crossed the Blue Mountains, which had until then proved an impassable barrier. For the first time, settlers were given a hint of the vast territory that lay inland. Awaiting exploration, water was the first need of the pioneers, as it is of the graziers, farmers, and manufacturers today. Water meant life to the 3 lakhs aboriginals who inhabited Australia before the white men came. These primitive black men held the secrets of their soaks or water holes, secrets which they passed on the white settlers, who often cruelly betrayed the black man's trust. Many of the early settlers were brutal people, made more cruel by fear of the unknown land in which they found themselves. These men faced a desperately hard life in a land completely alien to them. There were no domestic animals, the soil had never been cultivated, droughts might last for years, and floods wash away the small beginnings of civilized life. Only the tough and resolute could survive. And when you remember what the pioneers faced in their new country little more than a century ago, you begin to appreciate the outstanding progress Australia has made. Discovery of gold. The story of Australia's transformation really starts in 1850, when the first gold strike brought people in their thousands to this empty land. People mean progress and communities of people from the nuclei of civilization. As population increase, we see the development of water supplies and public services, of agriculture and industry, of communications and transport. It has been said that civilization is just a slow process of learning to be kind. From this, the idea of social services is born, with the care for the sick and the weak, for children and old people. For 80 years after the discovery of Australia, its population did not rise above 5 lakhs. 7 years after the gold strike, it had increased to 1 million. As the gold fever died down, people tired of the diggings and flocked into the young towns. New industries developed, and by 1901, Australia was peopled by a vigorous stock of nearly 4 million people. The hard Australian earth, with its brightly colored rocks, hides a wealth of many different minerals. Fortunes were made and lost as people strove to develop this vast expanse of virgin land. Mineral wealth. Gold was found at Kalgoorlie in Western Australia and at Ballarat in Victoria. Lead, zinc, and copper are mined at Mount Isa. Steel making is an important industry and coal is mined in increasing quantities. The search for oil continues in many parts of the Australian continent. It has already been found in Queensland. The mines producing the beautiful black opals found only at Lightning Ridge are almost worked out. Now, with so much other employment available to them, the fossickers no longer seek new fields. The milk and the white moonlit opals are still found at Whitecliffs and at Coober Pedy, where miners and their families live underground in the desert heat. Boulder opals, clear and brightly colored, are found only in Queensland. Population increase. Through the years, the population of Australia has gone on rising. At the last census, the total population had reached 11,9 to 8,889. Immigration between October 1945 and December 1967 brought 247,612 new Australians. Most were Britons, but many were displaced persons, including Poles, Italians, and Netherlanders. Australians like to own their homes, and the government helps them to do so. Modern homes are up to date and labor saving. Since the end of World War II, over 1 million homes have been built. My math is really very bad right now. But there is still a housing shortage. Each state deals with its particular problems of housing and public health. In 1950, town planning began, and a year later, the federal government subsidized buildings. Standards of living have increased rapidly in Australia, and social services are among the most advanced in the world. In 1948, the 40-hour working week was introduced. Government spending on social services was 6 times as much as before World War II. Education in the Outback. Australia's educational systems are often unique, being designed to deal with the special condition of sparsely populated areas. There are several methods of educating outback children. Correspondence courses conducted through the post have given a sound education to many children. There are also schools of the air, which use the two-way radio equipment developed originally for the Royal Flying Doctor Service. Alice Springs was the first center to use this method. For the only child of an isolated family, it can mean very much more than a formal education. It is a way of making friends over the air. There are 14 universities, including at least one in each state capital. In 1950, the Institute of Technology opened, adding to the facilities for higher education already existing in the National University, which was opened in 1946 for postgraduate research in medicine and physical science and Pacific studies.